Hey there, people. So today I will be fighting the Golem. I'll be going down to the Jungle Temple. I'm planning on putting together my Shroomite armor quickly first, Jungle Temple, Golem, and then we're going to do the Old Ones Army Tier 3. I'll see. I might even be able to squeeze in one or two other events today, depending on time and availability. But first of all, I did buy the auto hammer at the end of the last episode, or around there, somewhere in there. And so I've put together 53 Shroomite bars, and just to show you, I need 54 for the set. So I've got one bar, and oh, how did I end up? Oh, I was making potions. So I need 15 actually, glowing mushrooms to make that last bar at the auto hammer, just to show you how that works. And then we can go over to the anvil here, and I'm going to put together, I'm going to go with the bullet-based headgear for now to start with. I will probably want to put together the arrow-based headgear later as well. And there we go. That's my Shroomite set, and as you can see, I have now turned invisible because that's part of the set bonus. So that's going to give me a nice advantage for certain things. That'll actually be really useful against the Old Ones army because you can basically stand still, which is when the set bonus kicks in for the Shroomite armor. I was also able to put together a few other things. I got the Master Ninja gear by farming Bone Lee enemies in the dungeon and putting that together with some other stuff. And I also got an Avenger emblem I finally put together. So I have those available now. I also got really lucky and got a pulse bow from the traveling merchant already. So that's another excellent thing. And I was sort of farming the Old Ones Army Tier 2 finally to get myself prepared for the next tier. And so I was able to get enough Defender medals to buy a Defender's Forge, which is kind of like another safe. And also I've got just over 100 Defender medals so that after I defeat Golem, I can buy the next level, the final level staff to do the Tier 3 version properly and actually be prepared for that this time. So without further ado, I'm going to head down to the jungle. I'm going to grab a couple things along the way. I've got a bunch of buckets here so that I can put some honey in them so I can build an arena when I get to the final chamber there. And I'm going to want to grab a couple things from my Plantera arena, but basically that's it. I'll take my minecart track down and we'll see you there. Alright, so here I am at the entrance to the Jungle Temple, and of course I did come in a little bit of this before, but I am going to put I've got my Grand Design equipped now, and I'm going to put it on cut mode so I can come in here and cut some wires along the way quickly. So as I was showing in the last episode, actually easiest way you can just detect the wires and take out the actual switches, but doesn't hurt to take the wires with you as well. So I've changed to my ranged weapons now, and I've changed up some of my accessories. I've got the endless musket pouch, so I'm able to not worry about my ammo consumption. I figured the Onyx Blaster would be a good option just for sort of flat out damage when, you know, particular enemy comes at me. I've got my Mega Shark in place as well. So yeah, I'm basically just going to make my way through the temple here. And of course you can cut out the spike traps and stuff as well. But this is a very, very large temple. When I set up my world generation, I set up a number of, you know, special things in here. I've already taken some of the pressure plates out of here, so, you know, maybe I'll slow down on how much wire I need to collect right now. But this is a very large temple. You can see on my mini-map, it kind of just keeps going and going. And of course, there are huge numbers of lizard enemies, flying snakes, and everything. So I gotta be careful. And I'll be collecting solar tablet fragments, so if I need to summon any more solar eclipses, I'll have plenty of material to do that. And also power cells, which is what I'll need to summon the golem when I get to the end. And of course, there are little chests, like this one as well, which have all kinds of interesting things in them. Yeah, I can use some of these. I'm not going to take everything because that's just going to take a little too much effort there. A little too much time, a little too much effort. Gotta watch that I store my money occasionally as well. I'm getting a fair bit of money along the way. I just got to keep an eye out on how far did I get last time, and oh, there's where I stopped removing pressure plates right there. So I'm officially past where I was when I was in here before. I guess I mean, I could put torches around. I do have shine. Actually, I got this. That's another thing I forgot to mention, obviously, that I got the wisp in a bottle while I was in the dungeon, and also from the traveling merchant I got the companion cube. I wasn't sure about the 5 platinum for that, but you know, at this point I have enough money from all this farming that I figured, sure, 5 platinum for a companion cube, why not? So I made a quick little pit stop here just to stash some things because my inventory was totally full. So I've got my Defender Forge, I think it's called, yeah, Defender's Forge, which I got from the Old One's army, which acts basically as another safe. So I basically stashed a whole bunch of stuff in there, everything that didn't match stuff that I already had. And of course I've got tons of money from this as well. And I've got 8 power cells so far, 42 solar tablet fragments, 44 pressure plates just from all the traps, and some banners, which I didn't bother to use. So I also put in a shine potion so you can see in a couple torches. But yeah, basically just making slow progress, carefully, you know, watching out for the enemies, watching out for the traps. And of course the mechanical lens is the starting point for being able to see these wires. Eventually you can build that up to the grand design as I'm using here, which allows you to cut the wires anywhere on the screen that you can see them as well, which is a huge advantage too. But I'm just taking out the pressure plates because it just takes so long to take out the wires. But if you need wire, obviously, if you want to save up wire, then Jungle Temple is going to be an excellent place to get a bunch of that. So I'm just going to continue on. This is, again, a huge, I should probably show you this quickly. That's where I've gone so far. This is the size of my Jungle Temple. So I'm just going to continue on towards the final chamber and the golem, and then we're going to get that set up and fight him. Okay, so not only have I made it to the final temple, which you can see on the minimap here is quite large actually, the final chamber of the temple. I've walled that off. I've put little pools of honey and heart lanterns and campfires around. I've lit it up so you can see what's going on here. And just to show you, I filled my Defender's Forge entirely with stuff. Some of this I actually got before coming in the Jungle Temple and just didn't stash it in there quite yet. And then I've overflowed into here. I got yet another jungle key. I got a full stack and then some of the solar tablet fragments. I got a stack of 99 in my Defender's Forge, and this many more after that. I got almost a full stack of pressure plates. So that's all, you know, partly just the Jungle Temple in general, and partly also just how big this particular Jungle Temple is. So through Flying Lizards Untold and Flying Snakes Untold and Lizards Unnumbered, I fought my way here to the final chamber of the Jungle Temple to fight the golem. Alright, so, and I'm just going to zoom this out as well, just to show you the size of this chamber, and I put campfires and heart lanterns all the way up there as well. I've decided not actually to do a lot in terms of, like, structure to the arena preparation. So, basically this is going to be it, and I don't know whether to zoom in or zoom out. I'll leave it halfway between. How's that? I've got my lineup of weapons. I've got, I'm going to focus mostly on guns this time. I've got the Onyx Blaster, but I'll probably be using mostly the Mega Shark. I've also got my Uzi. I've got crystal bullets to go with those. I've also got just some leftover silver bullets and an endless musket pouch to back those up. I'm going to be using the Piranha gun. I obviously really should have reforged this before I came down here. And I also forgot to bring my bewitching table and my ammo box, which would have been helpful as well. Of course, I also have a sharpening station for melee weapons, but that I'm not going to use that. And a crystal ball, which is good for mages. Speaking of mages, though, I do have my golden shower just for the sake of inflicting the Ichor or Ichor debuff on the golem. And of course, I've upgraded to my Shroomite armor. I've got that Master Ninja gear equipped now. I was using the Spore Sack to get through the temple, but I've switched that out for the Master Ninja gear now. I've got my Ranger emblem in place to help my damage. I don't really need the boots because I can just dash with the Ninja gear. And I've got my wings so I can fly around. My Star Veil as before, my Charm of Myths. And my Worm Scarf is what I'm going with, and I've got some other things that I'm not using, just holding in my vanity slots. So I think that's about it. I'm going to want to, I may as well put up Nimbus Rod Clouds, never hurt. I'm going to want my minion, I'm going to want my buffs, my other minion that the buffs allow, and yeah, let's get on with the fight. Oh, and he came down right next to me. I guess he comes down on top of the altar, so it's maybe not so surprising. But the idea with the Piranha Gun is to try to pin down his fists, if I can hit them. There we go. Although now I'm on the other side, but he'll jump back over this way. I'm going to try to use the Piranha Gun to take out his fists first. It's a really effective weapon for that, and it pins them down and stops them punching you as well. So that's the first plan, and then I'll switch to my guns to finish off the first phase, basically, and then to fight the head. So I gotta aim, get that piranha on the fist, otherwise I just have to dodge. It's not too hard, this phase anyway. It's gonna get a lot harder in phase 2. Piranha Gun makes first phase really, really easy. So now, I'll hit him with that Ichor again, and this is where we bring out Mega Shark, Crystal Bullets, and I just gotta be careful to aim. Dip in the honey pool anytime I'm worried about my health to help that. Of course, my minions are zipping through, hitting in there as well. My Star Veil brings down the stars if he hits me, and gives me a little temporary invincibility. So this is what the preparation's all about. And of course I have my greater healing potions, which I haven't even resorted to yet. You know, I sometimes overcomplicate things trying to, yeah, I actually need to shoot at the body, don't I? I sometimes overcomplicate things trying to switch between, like, trying to use the Golden Shower to hit him with the Ichor, and trying to switch between different things, and sometimes you really just have to kind of go for it straight out. And there we go, I've beat him, just like that. That was remarkably easy, and this is Expert, so for it to be that easy on Expert, it's all about the preparation. So there we go, got my shiny stone, I got 23 beetle husks, golem mask, and I got the stinger actually, which being a ranger, that could be a good option. I was thinking I need to create the other headgear for the arrows, but having things like that and potentially some other stuff I might get a little later. I might even want to go for the rocket headgear as well. But that gets us past the golem, and that opens up a whole new world of possibilities. So the next thing I'm going to want to do is head back to my base, where it happens to be raining. Going to want to stash a bunch of this stuff and check out my fishing quest, and then we'll move on to doing that Old One's Army Tier 3. I don't know if I'm going to survive all the way to Betsy, but it's going to be worth a shot. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm just about ready to take on the Old One's Army. Just a couple little things. I did put together, I had to go back down to the jungle and get some more chlorophyte because I want to use the arrow-based, and I always forget which is called. Oh, I'm going to need some more glowing mushrooms too. I want to use the arrow-based mask for the Shroomite armor because the arrow weapons that I have will work better for this event. The other thing is that I already bought the Eternia Crystal, but I did save up, as I say, over 100 Defender medals from the Tier 2 version of the event so that I could get the next stage of the staff, which will be nice as well. So actually I'm just going to collect up some of those glowing mushrooms, make that mask or whatever it's called, and then I'll maybe reforge that staff as well. in order to get myself prepared, and then we'll see you at my new arena. I'm using a different arena now as well for the Old One's army, which I'll explain in a second. Okay, so I think I'm ready here. I'm at the Eternia Crystal stand. Of course, you can see I have a ton of banners that I got by farming the Tier 2 version of the event. I reforged my Lightning Aura Staff to Demonic. That's just the one that I prefer. The Ballista Staff is also an excellent choice. It really depends on your style. I've got my Crystal, and these are the weapons I'm going to go with. My Pulse Bow as my primary. I did find the Dart Pistol with Crystal Darts is very effective against the Tier 2 version of the event. I don't know that it's going to be so effective here. I've got my Chlorophyte Shot Bow, which I can use for larger single targets. So I've just got regular Jester's arrows actually as my main. I've got Holy Arrows sort of in reserve again for when I get up against something serious. I've got some Chlorophyte arrows that I'll probably put in between those two when I need to up my damage a little from the Jester's arrows. And I did keep some crystal bullets on hand just in case, and I even brought my Stinger with the Stinger bolts along, speaking of things I should have reforged, but I'm probably not going to use that a lot. And I've even got my Daedalus Stormbow, which I'm thinking I might end up using against Betsy herself. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is zoom out here. And I just put all my buffs on, and I like to put these Nimbus Rod things up. So there's that, and I've got with my Bewitching Table buff, which I made sure to get, that gives me 3 of those, and we can get started. So Old One's Army Tier 3 now, complete with the appropriate Lightning Aura Staff, the serious one. And yeah, the Jester's arrows with the Pulse Bow should be good enough for the initial waves, but I'll keep those Chlorophyte arrows in mind if I start to have a little more trouble, or when I think it's going to start getting a little too challenging for just the Pulse Bow itself. Basically, you just need to make sure that you get all these crystals in between waves, and set up your traps or whichever ones you're using. These ones you want to do right near the portals, but the ballistas you'd probably do more towards the middle. Those explosive ground-based traps you probably also do closer to the portals, and flame burst is a lot more like the ballistas again. So there's 7 waves in the Tier 2 version of the event, and we're already encountering flying enemies in this version. You can see, yeah, solar eclipse issues there. This is where already I'm thinking after this wave I'll swap those. I don't want to do it when I'm, busy, if possible. There's a bunch of things I plan to do for the final wave to be ready for Betsy when she's going to come. You need to be quick between waves, but you also need to be careful that you don't miss those guys. Okay, my strategy with these ones is that I, usually have an odd number, so I put more on one side and then more on the other. I just fire alternate directions and sit in the middle. Again, with the Shroomite armor, I actually have a bonus if I stand still. Increased damage, very helpful. It's getting a little more challenging now. We've got the Dark Mage there. So I might want to consider switching out my arrows and that kind of thing. Also getting hurt, actually. Kind of just survived that one, so I may want to switch to those holy arrows and maybe the shot bow. Crowd control basically is what that's about. Oh, and I wasn't even able to finish off those enemies before this wave began, so that's going to be problematic. Got the ogre now. He is a good candidate for the shot bow and the holy arrows. course, the ogre got me with the sticky thing. So, I'm going to need to be careful here. I'm actually in a bit of trouble already. There's another ogre. See if I can at least make it to Betsy. Not looking good. I think wave 6 is going to be it. Oh, yep, I died, but the crystal's basically done anyway, so there you go. Anyway, I almost finished wave 6, which would have got me some medals. And I'm not using any of the actual event armor or anything like that, so I'm also doing this, of course, before defeating Duke Fishron, before doing Martian Madness, before doing most of the other events, before doing the lunar events. So, you know, I'm not too surprised that I lost that. I honestly kind of expected that. But I actually made it pretty far. I almost finished wave 6, so that's not bad. Anyway, I'm actually going to leave it there today. I was thinking about doing a couple more events. Maybe I'll squeeze some events in next week. So I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.